Did you miss us? We're back. We don't have pencils though, do we? Okay, no pencils. Anyway, we're back on the 47 Ford today. Today we're going to put
something to write on, man.
we're going to put the cooling fan, the new one, on the front of the radiator so that we are ready to put the grill on once I finish painting it. So let's get after it today. I'm Mike. This is Brad, and this is My Car's Shop.
Working out of a 100-year-old refurbished barn, bringing 35 years of experience to projects considered beyond repair. Vision, creativity, and problem solving are essential tools in this place. Watch as we transform junk into polished metal miracles. This is My Car's Shop.
So one of the challenges when you're building a car like this and you're replacing the drivetrain with something other than stock is there's often not a lot of room to fit a cooling fan. So in this case, I really wanted to stick with the OE radiator, but we have about 3/4 of an inch of clearance between the pulley on the water pump, and this is the short style water pump, and the radiator. So we could have gone with a different radiator and pushed it further forward, but what would be the fun in that? That's really cool sticking up like that. So what we've done is I had temporarily mounted a fan up here in front of the radiator, and that was fine, but it sounded like a 747 taking off. So I ordered a fan that specifically is a push type fan to put in front of the radiator. And so we're working on mounting that today. Brad actually already came up with a design that's going to work real well yesterday between things, so we don't have to go through that thought process today. So today it's just a matter of building it and installing it. We haven't spun this fan up yet. We don't know what it's going to sound like, but it's got to be better than what we had, and it's going to be what it is because that's the way it is. Let's stop talking. What's wrong?
Talk. Let's just rock.
Yeah, there you go. So this is the fan that we picked up on the interwebs. Just a cheap fan, nothing special. Got it off of Amazon. It comes from somewhere in the Far East, some viral country, what did you call it?
It's a Ford fan.
It's a Ford, yeah, that's it. It's a Ford fan. It came from the Far East, Dearborn, Michigan.
Yeah.
What were you thinking? Inappropriate social people. So it didn't fit right on there because there's a crossbar here that keeps the front fenders pulled together. And so the other fan had a deeper shroud, and I was able to just notch it out and put it over there. But this one, that won't work because it's very close. So when I was horsing around doing something else, Brad was actually doing work as usual, and he came up with a little piece of square tube. Why don't you show him how it fits in there? So we notched it out, and it just fits nicely into that wishbone, sits right there. We'll give you a close-up of that in just a minute. And it holds the fan real square to the radiator. Now, it doesn't hold it tight to the radiator, but this technically is not a fan shroud, and this car does not run real hot. So we're hoping that that little bit of distance won't make much difference, and it'll blow enough air through there to keep it cool. This is a push type fan, like I said, so we'll fire it up here and see how bad it is, but it's going to be what it is because we got to get this done. We have to get the fan on there before we put the grill on because there's a cover that goes over most of this, and it would be more difficult to work on it. So you can see the little piece of square tube and how it just fits perfectly. It holds the fan right above the transmission cooler there, just within like 1/4 of an inch, so it's perfect. If for some reason it needs to be tighter to the radiator, we will make that compensation with double-sided, foamy, sticky, stuffy that sticks to the fan and kind of fills in the gap, but I don't think that's going to be necessary.
This brace helps hold the fenders from flopping around.
Yep. So we're going to weld some studs onto that square tube and then make some brackets to go on the round tube to hold the fan in place. But we're going to hook that thing up to a battery here and just see what it sounds like because we don't know. So we kind of thought it would be a good idea to test the fan since it's brand new and should be just fine. But so here's what it sounds like, here's what it works like, and this should be blowing the right way.
I drop it, quit screwing it around, Brad.
Should have done it through it from behind. So let's find center on this so we know where to put the fan on this, so we know where to mount the studs, because we'll work off center from that.
Yeah.
I think that's the place to start. So we'll do that, we'll get the studs mounted onto it, and then we'll weld it in, tack weld it into the thing.
We're
And
gonna
then
say X is center.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep, well, I would just measure it across.
Okay. 18 and 11/16. So 5/8, 18 and 5/8. So that's
9 1/4, basically.
yes.
Yeah, close enough. Well, Brad is correcting my bad math, and he came up with the correct number since I was incorrect. I give you a marker right there somewhere.
It doesn't work.
Oh, okay. Well, there's another one. There's a pencil over there on the shelf. I'm figuring out the studs, and we're just going to use 1/4-inch bolts. One of the issues with these is going to be, though, it doesn't fit into the head of this. So there's a couple things we can do. We can just cut it off and weld it, but I think I would rather see if I can just turn these down a little bit. So I'll show you a little shade tree mechanic cheesy way of doing this that, well, you'll just see. Stop talking about it. Good God.
Just teach us.
Okay, so using my yellow device to turn, and against the grinding wheel, I'll use the rough wheel. We're going to turn the head down so it fits inside of there. So I'll put that in my pocket because otherwise it'll vibrate off to the floor somewhere. So because I had it reversed, so I was doing it this way so I could show you, and it was reversed and caused the chuck to loosen up. So the bolt's down inside of there, so we got to get it out of there. So we'll be right back. Okay, so I've got it rough ground. It's getting close. I'm going to come over here to the fine wheel now to finish it. That will also cause it to not loosen up. And I'm turning it with a little taper on it so it'll fit in there into the thing, and you'll see in a minute. Well, Judas Priest in a go-kart. And it's hot. Actually, it's not hot. It just doesn't take me long to look at a bolt. So here's the first one. This has a taper in it. So I've got this nice little taper, and that's going to fit nicely, provided I can weld it well enough to not cause issues and stuff. So Brad's got everything laid out, and we determined that we need to come up on top of this because otherwise the bottom of this is into the transmission cooler. So we're going to get a couple more pieces of this square tube, and we're going to put a piece in here that's about 1.5 inches to 2 inches long. And the reason for that is, if you look at how this is designed, if we only attach it here, this thing's going to break right off. But if we come across here where it's all on the same plane, it'll give it a long, like 1.5 inches to 2 inches worth of support here. So we want to make sure that we have plenty of support across this plane here so that these little tabs don't break off. That was one of the complaints that I read about this online, was these tabs are crappy and they break right off. Well, yeah, they may, but I think more of it is probably not proper installation. If you're relying on this little piece of crap to do the job, it ain't gonna last.
Possibly, if you think about it, if this is vibrating, what I might do is, once you get everything worked out, maybe epoxy these down in there. So it's one, because if this is vibrating,
Right.
no wonder
Right.
it would break.
Yeah.
You know, so if you make these one with the thing that might even help as well, not
Right.
denying your,
No, no.
I agree with that, but it might help.
Oh yeah, definitely. Wouldn't hurt to just fill
And
that
then
up
with the way you're doing it with the nut, you'll still be able to take but you'll
Right.
be able to put it right back on without these dropping and trying to figure out where it went.
yeah, probably some JB weld. Just fill it up with
Yeah,
JB weld.
exactly.
So that'll be the final step. Then we'll have to get some. I don't think I have any, but we'll get some JB weld, and we will take these out, fill it up, and then squish these down in there with that, and that'll just
Help with that magic. That computes to 2 inches, baby. 2 inches.
okay.
Right a Rooney. Oop,
Mark
I
that out.
guess.
Wow, 2 inches. This is a horseshoe and hand grenade situation. Just close enough. This must not have had the handle on it. Must be on the other one. Okay, so now we're going to weld the little studs on there, and then we'll get them positioned over there on the thing, and then we'll have some stuff. You'll see how accurate my cutting was, within a millimeter. So Brad discovered a bit of a wow in that piece of metal. It's got a little bend in it, so he's straightening that out over at the vise. And I'm just determining exactly where I want this stud to be on both of these. Again, leaving ourselves support. Now you may be asking yourself, how is he going to weld that on there and not have the weld get in the way? Well, I'm going to answer that for you, so hang on to yourself because we'll get this for you.
Enough with the questions already. Eesh. We're trying to work on it. Leave us alone.
This has got to stop, Brad. This is the second day in a row you've accused me of being smart.
Yeah. It's all good.
Okay, so I'm
I've
gonna,
just been there before. I've held and drilled, and that does not turn out too good.
we're gonna drill a hole and then, well, we're gonna do some stuff. So just hang on. Grab me the drill motor there. As always, drill a pilot hole. Only
I'm
going
just saying, man. With the step drill bit, you've got the pilot hole, and then you can go to where you want to be. Might not work on that.
Okay, one down.
14 more to go. Show did.
I show enough.
Look at you trying to be smart.
Get it again.
Man, third time I called you smart.
You're forgetting the second word in that.
Ah,
Well, yes.
smarty. You definitely are a smarty.
I forgot to drill the pilot hole, but I guess it wasn't necessary.
Yeah, at least you did it one.
Yep. Okay, so here's the trick. Here's the fun thing. This is the shizzle right here. we're gonna come in here and angle cut this. And you may not get where I'm going with this, but you will. Need to go more? No, I think we're good. Got a little, it's got a little, just a thing. And the thing, ow, it's sharp.
Yep.
We're not working on stitches.
Pause. I gotta take Mike to the hospital.
Okay, so we drilled the hole, you can see, and this fits right through there, right? So I'm gonna do this, right? Nope, I'm not. What we're gonna do is put this up here and weld it from the backside. Then we have that support for the taper here. So we're using all the plastic to support all the bolt and all of the fan. Okay, let's give it all the voltage. Want a welding helmet?
No, I'm not gonna
Burn the end away a little bit, but I think we got it. I had the voltage cranked up really hot because I wanted good penetration. So. And we melted our clamp. There we go. Let's check this thing out here. Yep, okay, we got to weld it a little bit more in there, but we're good. And we got plastic Loctite now on there.
Ooh, some
Yep, so we'll just come, it's hard to see in there, so.
little plantain juice in there. How'd that come out?
There, that's way too much. It'd be perfect. Well, it was a great plan, but I could not get these bolts to weld. I do not know why. I even had like some penetration on it, but they would just snap right off. I don't know if I didn't get enough of the galvanizing off the bolts, but the hole would fill. And I had the bolt cherry red, and I started right at the center of the bolt. So we're going plan B, and that is we cut these brackets off like this again, drill holes through. We're just going to put bolts through from the back side. I would prefer to have had some kind of a wedge in here just to give that a little extra support, but sometimes you just gotta say enough. We've dinked around with this for probably 40 minutes now, and it's not worth it. We're just gonna go with what I got. So this is what we've got here now. Everything's laid out. Just gonna transfer those lines over to the metal and then grind things up and get them welded in place. It's welded up. I think we found out why it wouldn't weld to the bolts. This was from a shipping crate that came from Dearborn, Michigan. Hint, hint. Something that came in. I don't remember what it was. And I think it is just such a very, very poor quality of material that's got so much contaminant in it that why I couldn't get it to melt together with that bolt. So I had a heck of a time even getting this to weld, but it's welded up solid now and it'll be good. So we got to let it cool down, and then Brad is going to show us what's next. So what we discovered is that this bar, if we turn it over upside down from the way it was before, which we did, it lines up perfectly with where that fan is supposed to go. And we don't even need to put bolt mounts on it. We're just going to use zip ties on the top to hold that in place, which I'm liking that because I didn't really want to weld to this. So I think that's going to be a good option. And that's not much dissimilar to how fans are often mounted, because they usually use things that poke through the radiator and slip on with clippy thing type things. So I didn't want to poke holes in the radiator like that either. So I think this will be a good viable option. So we got our lines down here where this goes now, and we're going to tack weld the bolts in it, and then we'll come over here, get some cardboard behind there and weld up that brace, and we should be golden. So we're going to zip tie it on the top. We're going to get some black zip ties, but it's actually hidden anyway. There is a shroud that goes right from here up to the top of the radiator right here. So none of that is visible, but that's our bolts down there. Fits very nicely. Very happy with that. So the next steps are to finish it up and then get it wired up. Apparently it's going to be an all-day rain, and it's going to be one of those wet rains. I much prefer a dry one. So we're a bit crowded in the shop, partly because we've been flogging like crazy and moving from one thing to another and just kind of leaving a wake behind us. But we're trying to get as much done as we can here. But the second thing is we can't put anything outside because of that really wet rain we've got going on. So we got things moved around well enough to be able to do the wiring on this fan. We're just going to do a simple temporary wiring thing, hook it up to a switch, and get it so it works, because we have plans to get the electrical system done, as I said, but things happen and you know how that goes. So next step, besides sitting around groaning because we ate too much burger schwing for lunch, but the next step is to, well, just do it. Quit talking. So part of the decisions that you have to make is when we put the wiring in, we're going to be adding switches that were not factory. So just to lay it out, this over here was actually the starter button because it had a push button starter. This was the headlight switch. This was the throttle because these cars all had a manual throttle. And I think over here was the choke. So I have several holes, but I needed to determine where the headlight switch was going to fit because it's rather large. Now this is just stuck in there temporarily, it's not even pushed in, and what we have to do is push that in and then cut this rod off to the right length. This is held on here with a Allen bolt, so it'll be fine. But I don't want to push it in there yet because I can't really reach the release button. That's not a big deal because there's plenty of room to take the switch in and out with the rod in there, so I'm not too concerned about that. We can take the rod out later because this has that. But anyway, I think the fan switch is going to fit good over here. I'm going to see if I can find another washer to go behind here. But for now, it's not tight, but I think it's going to work okay. So once that's tightened down, I got a big washer behind it. Unfortunately, we have these little ears there, so I may come up with some kind of a decorative plate to put in the way of it. Don't know what I'll put in here. If anything, I might just put a plug over that. But we have options, so that's the main thing. But this is my electric fan right here.
I don't know what a walrus sounds like, but probably not that.
Okay, so our switch is hooked up. Are your fingers clear, Brad?
Yeah, go ahead.
So the most important decision of the day and the most important work of the day, we need to choose the color that we're going to put on the fan thing. So yellow, blue, black, or red. Red, no, absolutely not. It clashes terrible. Black, maybe black would be the best choice. Let's leave that one aside. Yellow, I kind of lean towards that because the yellow is, the light is yellow. The wire is yellow. The blue, I'm not feeling it. Although blue could indicate cool. So that's an option. Because yellow indicates sun, that's hot. So let's move yellow aside and determine if we want black or yellow. Black or blue, sorry. Black and blue.
It's a good song.
Good band. What we're referring to is the band Black and Blue, whom the lead guitarist of is now the lead guitarist in a little known band that most people don't know about called Kiss!
No, I wasn't talking about that.
Now, Tommy Thayer was the lead guitar player for the band Black and Blue.
No,
You're talking Blue on Black.
Yeah. Oh. True that.
Kenny Wayne Shepherd?
Kenny Wayne Shepherd.
Yeah. Can we say those names without violating copyrights?
Not talking about it.
I don't know.
We're not singing the song, so hopefully the video will stay. Everybody check out.
I need your opinion,
both
Brad.
bands.
I need your opinion.
Okay.
Black?
I do like that.
And the only reason I'm considering this one is because
Is
of the
it's
color
cool,
blue, because
yep.
it's cool, which would indicate the fan.
Now, really, honestly, the clashes, I think,
Yes, it
doesn't
does.
go too good with the red.
And the red itself is like
No.
god awful because
Yeah.
it's.
Definitely not red.
So if you disagree with Brad, drop something down there in the comments.
Yes, and you have to deal with me because I have no YouTube channel. Ha! So suck it.
We have a fan.
That we does. It does work.
So yeah, I think we're back in black, and we're almost ready to hit the sack.
Don't go.
It's been too long, but I'm glad to be back. Hey Brad,
Yeah.
did you cut loose from the noose that's kept you hanging about?
Yes.
Just wondering. Oh, flip the switch, Brad. Flip the switch. Wow, it sucked me right in. I was in the car, turned it on, and I said, I can feel air blowing in here. And the firewall is solid except for the one hole for the hood cable release, because this car, believe it or not, 1947, has a cable release to release the hood. But anyway, there's somewhere down in the floor where there's some openings, and this thing is moving so much air.
Air conditioning.
Yeah, there you go. That's what it is. So it moves a lot of air, and I'm very happy with that. Our fan is done, so the next step, electrical on this car, is going to be getting the wiring all done with the lights. I found the placement for the switches you saw. I don't think there's any, well, we don't need wipers because these are vacuum wipers, so we don't have electric wipers to worry about. And I'm leaving them the vacuum wipers because the cam isn't very big, so they should work. Plus the fact that this car's not going to see much wet weather, so probably do the old, what do they call that stuff?
Rain-X.
Linex?
Rain-X.
We'll put that stuff. Put Linex all over the windshield.
Yeah.
We will not have a problem.
No.
We'll do the Rain-X thing, and that'll be good enough. I've done that on a lot of cars. My 31 Ford, I have that way. I don't drive them in the rain that much,
Don't
although this
drive
is
at all.
more of a driver than some of the other ones. So we have a fan, and very happy with this $30 Amazon Jungle Special fan. We'll see how it lasts, but we zip tied it top and bottom, made that bracket as you saw, and well, if you haven't seen it, go back and watch the episode because you've been
Why
sleeping.
haven't we been watching all of the episodes?
Well, there's that.
2 or 3 times at least.
If you don't know what the bananas are all about, if you don't know what plantains are all
I
about,
don't even know, but
if you don't know about the wildcats, you've really got to go back
Yes.
and watch some stuff. So,
yes, sir.
well, I think that's going to do it for this episode. I think Brad's heading home tomorrow, and
Yep.
so we are going to try.
Sadly, but true.
We're going to try to get him back sooner than next year. So we'll see.
Yep.
Becky said last night, Brad needs to come back more. But it's all good. I appreciate you being here. Thanks, Brad.
Yep. Not
Always
a problem.
good. You're always
Always a pleasure
Yep.
to come up here.
It's been a lot of years, and we appreciate it. And thank you so much for your generosity.
Yep.
With 2 scoops, we're gonna
Yes.
go far with it. So
Cool.
appreciate that. And if you haven't seen what that's about, where the heck have you been?
Come on.
If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do hit the bell for notifications. We're on Instagram and on Facebook, /MyCarsShop. And is there anything else? I feel like I'm forgetting something.
Would be
Rock!